No, goodbye.
Goodbye, hello, hello. This is Meg Riley. I'm here today in Brecksville, Ohio, near Cleveland at my brother's house. And this is a special Thanksgiving episode of The Blue. We had a gorgeous snowfall this morning. Totally beautiful. We're all here. No one's traveling. Very cozy. How about you, Joanna?
Well, I am here in Austin, Texas, and look who I got with me, the very Reverend Sean Dennison. And
Reverend.
Yes, we are breaking open orange juice and champagne and making mimosas and, you know, shoveling the turkey and stuffing the snow.
Hi, I'm Aisha Hauser, and I'm in Seattle, Washington. It is gray and rainy, and I just got up because it's 8 in the morning here. So happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Tom Shade, and I am here in Ann Arbor. I got in last night, drove in from St. Louis area at 11 o'clock, and we're not doing anything for Thanksgiving until much later when we're going to a neighbor's for dinner. So it's actually kind of calm, which is okay because I need to decompress. I look funny because my headphones are lost somewhere in my car, and I can't.
That's not why you look funny.
You look funny for a whole bunch of different reasons, Tom.
Thank you, Hank.
I'm Hank Purse. I'm speaking to you from Medford, Massachusetts, with my family around me. I'm watching my wife make some sort of squash dish, and my 7-year-old is coming up. Do you want to say hi? There she is. And we're going to go and play.
Hi there.
There's little Bethia. And we're hanging out in a little while. We'll be heading down to my sister's house, about an hour south of us. But now we're with you.
And we got special guests. Take it away, special guests. Oh, come on, you're special. Katy Carpman, can you unmute?
Maybe.
She seems to be freezing, but as her best friend, I will tell you, this is Katy Carpman.
And she's in Texas, but not in Austin. Katy, are you there?
She is in Houston. However, she was with Sean and me when we saw Amanda Palmer Monday night, and she was with us Tuesday when we had a Tomalata with Gordon Atkinson, a.k.a. Real Life Preacher.
She's everywhere. Katy, can you talk, too?
I'm not sure if I'm unmuting.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I am preparing part of a potluck feast for about 20 people, but right now I've kicked them all out of the house and I'm enjoying the quiet.
Nice. Well done. How about Papa Rev? How you doing, Rev Papa?
Hi, Meg. This is Michael Tino here from Peekskill, New York. I'm wearing my apron so that Katy does not feel alone, but the Tino family Thanksgiving feast is Saturday. So I'm drinking coffee because after I get offline here, I'm driving 2 hours to my mother's house where I will start 2 days of cooking because I am the Thanksgiving chef. So the apron will be used. We
want to hear more about that. Where's the baby, though? That's the important question.
She's downstairs having lunch with Papa.
Ah.
She might make a special guest
later. And not behind the chalice today, we have.
Hi, it's Shauna Foster, and I'm here in Colorado, and I have my special guest, the smoked turkey from Dickie's Barbecue Pit. Woo! So that's how we're doing Thanksgiving this year, so that Grandma can have leftovers to take home with her. Oh, so if you want to ask questions, you can use the question and answers app if you want to know where I got this lovely bird for your own Thanksgiving, or I don't know, I guess I'm doing an advertising for the local barbecue joint now. And you can follow us at CLFUU on Twitter if you want to send things there, or on our Facebook group.
And Shauna, are we opening our champagne now? I love that we're doing this across the country. We're enjoying the most together. Oh, you were ahead of me. You were ahead of me.
Well, yeah, because you told me to put a cork in it. You know, it's impossible.
I never tell Shauna to put a cork in it.
Shauna,
I'm not stupid.
Step aside, because I think that your calendar shows everyone's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have yams and mashed potatoes. Oh, and my mom's here too. Mom, come on, bring us how you're supposed to start Thanksgiving. Where is it? I put it away. Oh, go get it. Go get it. My mom has the special ingredient that everybody needs for Thanksgiving. She's going to come and bring it out, but we're putting the stuffing in the crock pot, and we've got mashed potatoes, and I'm going to be peeling potatoes during the show when you all talk about your very important...
we're going to talk about what kind of potatoes to use and stuff like that today.
Oh, red potatoes.
No, russet potatoes.
Yeah.
No, not red. No, not red.
No, Yukon Gold potatoes. This is really
russet. I'm telling you.
Yukon Gold.
No.
I'm in the Yukon category.
I love Yukon Gold potatoes, but not for mashed. You want the driest potato you can get.
You need the bourbon.
Depends on how much you mash it.
Oh, that's a really... Yeah.
Oh, wait, show that again.
Man.
This is what my mom needs for Thanksgiving. Here you go, Mom. Okay, I'm going to mute now.
I love the iPad on the little stand-up read column.
That's where I have. There's an app that tells me when to put what in the oven where.
Oh my!
There's like a Thanksgiving app. Is that?
Yeah, well, there's lots of different ones, but this one tells me what to do because I'm cooking for Grandma. It's got to be good because Grandma needs leftovers. If the lady doesn't get leftovers, I'm screwed.
All right, Grandma. Is Grandma watching this, Shauna?
No, Grandma doesn't get on the internet. That's where they get you. So.
That's where they what you?
They get you on the internet.
I hope we got a few people here. I don't know about that. So, all right, let's just do a little vote on the potatoes thing because that was emotional. Michael, you didn't say a word. What do you think about potatoes? Curious.
I use Yukon Golds myself, but I don't mash them too much because if you mash them too much, they get gluey.
They get gluey. They get gluey.
They want gluey potatoes. If you want to destroy your potatoes, go with russets.
No, yes, that's right.
I just sort of smash them.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to mash the hell out of them, which is what I do.
If you want to mash the hell out of them, you need russets.
Because it said everyone compliments my stuffing and my turkey, but never my mashed potatoes. Why not? And the answer was probably because their lips are glued shut by them because they're so gluey. And you should use russet potatoes only. So I had before that had used Yukon Golds, and I switched, and they're not as gluey. So
well, really, I was also
Sean here, just saying it's the difference between if you like a mashed potato or a whipped potato. And I'm all
whipped, yeah. Well, that's a whole different potato there, you know. So yeah. Hank, what about you? Where do you come in on the potato controversy?
If they didn't eat it in Plymouth, we don't eat it on.
Oh, you don't eat potatoes. So you're anti-Irish now, are you?
He's eating some dried corn today, a little hay.
Seal.
Seal lover, yeah. Excellent. Well, enjoy that.
Seal was on the original dinner, remember? as was lobster, some shellfish, and deer and popcorn.
Okay, and that's
so we're making this enormous seal turducken thing.
I think you're wrong because I was watching a documentary the other day, and I'm pretty sure the first Thanksgiving was jelly bean toast. What else was there? Popcorn. See, my kids know.
That's your first Thanksgiving as a single person, isn't it?
Oh, no, apparently they're telling me that wasn't a documentary. That was the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
It's hard
to tell the difference.
A few mimosas, and you're there. So everybody, let's see, Michael, so who's going to be with who? Aisha, who are you going to be with?
We're going to my neighbors for a non-turkey Thanksgiving brunch, and then I'm just cooking for the four of us, and one of my friends from church may come over, Rebecca, who's our director of finance, so she may come over with her family. But they're deciding last minute because we don't have a TV, so there's no football here, and the Seahawks are playing.
Oh,
so that's a thing. A few people said no to me because we don't have television.
Wow, I forgot the football thing. I grew up in a family where the guys watched football and yelled so loud you could hear them through the whole house. And the women cooked. And never felt like I was missing anything, by the way, by doing that. But yeah, so I'm here with my sibs and nieces and nephews and 3 dogs and 2 cats. So that's a friend of mine said, that's really smart. Most families fight. You've got the animals to fight, so you can all relax. So that's kind of what we're going on. We got cats and dogs chasing each other around. So I'm thinking probably let's just say this, part of everybody's Thanksgiving is talking to family members about the events in Ferguson and all of that. So Tom, you're just back from St. Louis. I'd love to hear what you saw there. It was very moving online to hear about the vigil they had at Elliott Chapel. And
yeah, I was down there for a week. I haven't really put everything together yet in my own head, but our UU colleagues have stepped out quite considerably. Elliott Chapel on Tuesday night, I participated in the 16th consecutive vigil outside of Elliott Chapel, which is in downtown Kirkwood. It's quiet. It's signs, Black Lives Matter, we stand with Ferguson. Mostly responses from the cars, a few pedestrians. It's a good event. Then they meet and talk about it for about an hour afterwards. The thing that they spawned or inspired was Emerson Chapel, which is way out in the western suburbs. They do a vigil at an intersection going into a very busy shopping mall out in West County, which is really far from Ferguson and really demographically far from Ferguson. It's like, white, suburban, upper, middle class. And they stand at a street corner where literally thousands of cars pass them in the hour that they are. So they are really, really outside their comfort zone. And those good folks have been doing this for probably 8 weeks now, I would say. And they're getting people coming from the area out there to join them who are not connected to the church. And it's quite a...
Yeah, last week while you were on your way there, we had the area clergy speak. It was very moving. As the regulars will tell you, I got choked up by what amazing ministry.
Oh, right. You had everybody. Well, I was.
Because they were having a clergy meeting last week, right before the VUU. So pretty much all of them could come on, which is really lovely. So, it was inspiring to see just a really strong ministry going on.
Well, it's the whole situation's quite amazing. Quite amazing. Though somebody said this was before the indictment came down. Somebody had a relative talk.
Wait, an indictment came down?
No, the non-indictment came down. The non-indictment announcement. Somebody said, "Why it must be so amazing there in St. Louis," and they reported back, "No, it's basically we just go to a lot of meetings right now." I mean, for these whole weeks leading up to it, it was just meetings after meeting after meeting. So finally, the non-indictment came down, and there was a lot more things to do and a lot higher sense of urgency going on. I had left St. Louis on Monday. Everybody thought the announcement was going to come on Sunday, and so Monday it seemed like, oh, well, nothing's happening. And so I started driving home, and I got as far as Champaign-Urbana in Illinois, and my Twitter feed came on my phone saying that the announcement was coming that night. And so I turned around and came back. So.
Were you there by the time the announcement was made?
I listened to the announcement driving into St. Louis.
Wow.
And the remarkable thing was, this was Monday night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. The freeways, the streets, there was nobody out. Nobody out. I felt like I was driving into a empty city because there was nobody. Everybody must have been at home watching what's his face explain.
It's a very, very weird time to announce.
Yeah, well,
weird time to announce.
It was set up in order to create the conditions for.
It sure looks that way. I mean, it's really hard to look at it and not think that. It's hard to know what else to think. Huh? So I'm curious, other people, where were you and how? We did a vigil, Google Hangout vigil. CLF did, not setting it up at 9 Eastern, thinking surely the announcement would be done by then, and ended up hearing it on the Hangout, which was not what we had in mind at all. And thankfully Leslie McFadden was with us and could really read Twitter feeds and was really plugged in as things came through, and immediately could read the statement from the folks in Ferguson. So it was moving. It was moving to be there, and not, it just was hard. In a way, it was good to be there together to get it, but in a way, I kind of had said, let's all have a little time to gather ourselves before we're public with it. Hank, you need to mute or talk. You're welcome to talk.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. No, just the whole thing, the way it was set up to for this, for people to act out. I mean, I kept, when it didn't happen over the weekend, I thought, oh, they're going to wait until Thanksgiving morning. People, less loss of people, less chance for people to go out and do stuff. And when it finally came down, I was just like, once again, they've just done everything along the way. You just sort of see how it's been planned out to make people look bad, make the African American community look like all they want to do is riot. That this was just part of who these people are. It was, and I have to say too that Facebook ever since too, it's been really interesting seeing all of the arguments going on, because there have been lots of arguments going on. And lots of people being unfriended. I think it'd be interesting to find out how many people have been unfriended since Monday night on Facebook, because I think that's a big uptick from a lot of folks.
Did you see that tweet from Chris Rock? Chris Rock says there's an app that you can get on your phone that tells you which of your friends are racist. It's called Facebook.
Oh, good line. Very good line.
Well, I think as a minister, this is the challenge here now, is how to have conversations that are healing, and how to move forward. I've had congregants really mad at me for speaking out, and they're still my congregants, and so how do we stay together and move along slow, how, I guess my question as a white person, which is not a new question at all, but just how do we help white people wake up? It's just, I just feel like this has been and can be such a case study of lack of consciousness.
We at East Shore in Bellevue, we've been doing Beloved Conversations, the program that Mark Hicks developed, and we've been doing it for a year and a half. So 3 groups of people in the congregation have gone through it, and we had a vigil Monday night, and probably half the people that came to the vigil were part of Beloved Conversations. So, where else are people talking about race? Anywhere where it's, people from dominant culture, people of color. So I really want to make a pitch for finding out about Mark's program and bringing it to your congregations. It really has the potential to be transformative for an entire group.
Where would people find that program if they just heard you say that and said, "Oh, I want
Meadville Lombard." Go to Meadville Lombard. It's I think Mark has it under the FOS Collaborative, but it's Mark Hicks, Dr. Mark Hicks, Hicks, and it's under Meadville Lombard. He's on staff there. He's the FOS. I don't know what his official title is. FOS professor. He would be great to have on The View.
Should have him on The View. He'd be a great person to have. Yeah. How about Michael? You chaired Allies for Racial Equality for a while. What did you find most successful to reach out to people?
Boy, that's a really good question, Meg, and I'm not sure I have a really good answer for you. What I struggle with in the aftermath of this decision, non-decision, travesty of justice, however we want to put it, is, and I've talked about this with our local ministers here, some of whom have also been involved very heavily in racial justice work. We want to come together and we want to pray and understand the deep spiritual wounds, and I think that's great. And at some point in our experiences, those vigils turn to, praying that looting doesn't happen, and focusing on entirely the wrong things. Because I think, as some people have said here already, to me this looked set up to deflect our attention onto nighttime angry people rioting rather than a DA who completely misused the grand jury system. I mean, anyone who understands what a grand jury is supposed to do understands that this DA asked that grand jury not to indict Darren Wilson, and so they did what he asked them, even though he didn't ask it explicitly. And so I struggle with, what do we do to wake up people who are really distracted by the things that our white supremacist culture distracts them with? The fires and the angry people, and to me, like, okay, I understand that people are angry. I'm not trying to say that people shouldn't be angry, but focusing on the looting is distracting from the injustice.
Well, so I feel like one thing that's really helped, like on my Facebook wall, it got 125 shares, is a list of all white people rioting, right? After the Broncos won the Super Bowl, they turned over cars and set them on fire during a surfing competition, the Pumpkin Festival, right? So I feel like that kind of argument has stopped dead in its track on my Facebook area, because when people try to say, oh, they're looting, they're rioting, I'm like, yeah, a kid was killed. What do you expect? And then we have white people, it's okay for a surfing competition or a pumpkin festival for them to set things on fire, but when a boy or a teenager is killed in their community, it's not okay for them to be upset or to riot. And, so I think that's one, to me, like the double standards. And, I feel like white people have to collect their people. They have to collect and say, this is what it is, and I'm not going to be silent about it anymore. And I don't know if I've been unfriended a lot, but it's hard for people to look in the face of that double standard and say, oh, well, but they're still, to me, the arguments on my Facebook page have stopped with the whole focusing on the looting once I put that double standard out there.
I have to say, I love what Chris Walton did on Facebook. He sent out a message and he said, look, if you, like or share the UUA's Peter Morales' statement or any of these things, that means that your relatives and other people are going to be seeing it. And yes, they may have some really negative comments that they then go and put on that page, but they're seeing this and they're reading it. And then other people, the people who know them, it's viral. They're going to see this. I thought that was a great point about what we can do with social media now that used to, we couldn't do when these results would come in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a couple more comments on this, and then I'm going to change the subject. Katy,
well, let me go ahead, Kate.
You're unmuted. I thought maybe you wanted to talk. No?
He is freezing again.
Oh, poor Katy. Freezing in Texas. That doesn't happen.
I was going to ask, as a millennial, I never experienced the Rodney King thing. And so people are talking about that and drawing allegories to that, but I kind of know what happened, but so I want to hear from my venerated elders what the comparison, Tom, don't fall down dead laughing, but comparisons are and what the reaction has been from the communities back then, and if it's different now, or is this the same old thing again, and America just never learns its lesson?
No, there was a big difference in the sense that what you had after the Rodney King thing, which was the acquittal of a jury of the police that were involved in the beating of him. They had moved the trial way out into Simi Valley, which was an all-white area, basically have the trial out there. And then they were acquitted, and there was basically rioting for a couple of days in Los Angeles. What you have in St. Louis is that you've had 100 days since Mike Brown was killed, and you have an incredible level of organization that has grown up in that community and across the whole St. Louis area. So while you may have 1 or 2 nights of localized rioting in Ferguson, basically what's enduring out there and what continues on is a lot of nonviolent direct civil disobedience and action that's going on. It's a much more organized and incredibly organized. I'm just so impressed by the level of organization there. So it's really the difference between an organized response that's both black-led and but yet contains a lot of white folk, and disciplined way versus the Rodney King, which was much more. That was kind of like the last of the great urban uprisings that started in Watts, where police action would result in a kind of this large, spontaneous, widespread, rebellion, which involved looting and burning stores and confronting police, and ended up being very costly in terms of lives. I mean, dozens and dozens of people were killed in most of these 1960s riots. Rodney King was kind of, in some ways, the last one of those, and this is a completely new era.
But do you think it's because of social media, Tom? Because I'm thinking the organization, like there was a national or international network of response. It was a Tumblr page. And so there were a bunch of UU churches. We put ours. It was all over the world of where to go. So I think I'm thinking that that's a big part of the difference.
Well, that's I think a symbol of it, because in fact what it is that the 1960s leadership was not able to lead the folk in the 60s and 70s who were living in poverty in the cities, and so there was a spontaneous action. But now a whole new generation of leaders, young millennial leaders, African American for the most part, have grown up, and they use social media because millennials use social media. It's not social media that's making the difference. It's a new generation of leaders who are incredibly impressive people.
Michael, you trying to get in here?
Yeah, if I might share my cynical Generation X response. I thank you, Tom, for the really clear explanation of the difference on the local level, because I think you're absolutely right. And what I'm seeing on a national level is more similarity than that, because the national response to the riots after the Rodney King jury verdict was focusing on Rodney King's statement, "Can't we all just get along?" And I think Cindy Landrum did a wonderful piece on your blog, Tom, about the All Lives Matter response to what's going on in Ferguson. So what I'm seeing is actually similarity, that the national response is a minimization of the fact that, yeah, all lives matter, but the lives of people of color are devalued on a regular basis, and so we need to hold Black lives up in the wake of the Michael Brown killing. And so I'm seeing actually that similarity, that the national response is to minimize racial.
I think there is that national response, but this came up last week with the people from the area. I remember Krista was saying, we've now, there are all these different municipalities in the county. They're like 92. I don't know if that was an exaggeration, but she said, we've now met each other, and the interfaith people have met each other. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think he's going to be the Emmett Till of a new movement that hasn't yet happened on a national level, that Ferguson is modeling. It's been happening. People of color have been organizing around police brutality and everything for decades, but I think, at least in Minneapolis, seeing it and following it from people posting from other places, I think that the mass incarceration issues, the police brutality issues, the militarization of the police issues are all coming together in a way that I have hope that, used well, this moment could launch something that Rodney King didn't. And it's partly through social media, but it's partly through the vast amount of information that we have, and even some articulate white people finally to say, wait a minute, our souls are at stake here. Like, I just think, I remember hearing Michelle Alexander a few years ago say, there's not a national movement on the new Jim Crow. There's a lot of local movements, but no one's holding it together. And I really think this is going to be the incident. May it be so indeed. This is my prayer, and this is my hope for action. This is what motivates move forward.
What it seems like to me is the dismantling of colorblind racism. You know, the whole, why are we all the same? Why can't we just get along? All that is really being challenged with, like, the hashtag Black Lives Matter and people coming back and saying, no, it is Black lives that matter because in the system, Black lives are worthless. And that Black and brown lives are worthless. And that's why you have to say Black lives matter, not all lives matter. Because if you do all lives matter, then it just erases this persecution and oppression that a certain group of people have had. And so that's the conversations I've been having on Facebook where people come back and they're like, why can't we get along? Why can't it be peaceful? Aren't we all the same? And it's like, yeah, races doesn't exist biologically, but it does exist as a social structure, and we have to address that. And that nuance, I feel like, before this wasn't really getting communicated. And to me, that's the shift that's happening in the societal conscience. But I was asking, like, why didn't, now it's good to hear why that didn't happen with Rodney King or other things that have happened before my time.
Right, or Trayvon Martin too. I mean, I think that's the part of it too. You kind of go, well, how come it didn't happen with Trayvon, but is it really going to happen now?
I think that the local movements have been building and getting much stronger. Tom, you wanted to say one other thing?
Yeah. First, now I have two things. One is that Trayvon Martin, that whole controversy set the stage for this.
Yes.
You know, it's a building process. And the last thing I would say is going back to what our role as religious leaders are in a time in which it's very controversial, everything is agitated, people are really paying attention. This is the time, I think, that we stake out our full position.
Yes.
That we are not involved in the kind of, reaching out. Pardon?
Conciliatory, compromising.
Right. This is not the time. Because when you look at the way that you change, right, the way that you've changed in the past, it is because it's a struggle, and oftentimes you change because someone you respect took a position that was way beyond where you were. And you just had to, like, and you hated them, and you loved them, and you argued with them all night in your bed, and you drove around trying to figure out what they were saying that was wrong, and you slowly got convinced by their clarity, not by the fact that they kept saying to you, oh, well, your feelings, let's process your feelings. This is the time when people change because it's sharp, and we should be sharp ourselves. That's my
amen to that. I'm going to say we're at the half-point mark. We really did plan to talk about potatoes and cranberries, but as you can see, we're just the kind of unruly house guests that just aren't going to stay there. So there are Shauna's peeled potatoes while we've talked. Let's take a moment.
We're helping everybody prep for their Thanksgiving meal with cousins and folks. So you have some language.
So say who you are while you're talking. And
I'm Hank Purse, and I am here, and I'm watching my lovely wife cook. Rebecca, do you want to come say hi? Do you want to come say?
No, have Rebecca come. Oh, she doesn't.
She doesn't want to. I'll turn the camera around.
There you go. Oh yeah, there she is, cooking away. Okay.
She's a large knife in her hand, so I don't want to bother her.
Let's go in the same order. Oh, there we go. Wait a minute, another kid.
There's Ruth Keziah.
Hi, Ruth Keziah. I got dogs barking.
I've got dogs too. All right. To me, the most important ingredient
with potatoes. Get through the hellos.
Okay.
Okay, say who you are, and then you can say you're going to talk about potatoes.
I'm Tom Shade in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the most important ingredient in mashed potatoes is butter. The potatoes just hold the butter together. That's all it's about.
That's why the Russians are good. They hold more butter.
It's just a butter delivery system.
Right. Joanna, come on in.
Hello, I'm Joanna Fontaine Crawford in Austin, Texas, and I am getting ready to start getting my obsessive turkey ready to go into the oven. I'm so excited. I have friends who over the years I have taught obsessive turkey to. I have no comment for this, Meg. I'm seeing Superman behind you. But I love the fact that I have all these friends that are making obsessive turkey because I figure at some point there will be so many people who know how to do it that I can simply start going to their houses for Thanksgiving.
I'll just say we'll get back to your obsessive turkey because I brought it up here and was met with utter disbelief from my family. So we'll get back to your turkey. But let's get through the introductions. Aisha, come on in.
Hi, I'm Aisha Hauser in Seattle, and I've been actually Martha Stewart introduced me to obsessive turkey, so I've been making it for years and years and years.
Katy, Michael, Shauna.
Hi, I'm Katy Carpman in Houston, Texas. I apologize for my technical difficulties. It turned out my sons had not one, not two, but 9 Skype windows open in addition to TeamSpeak.
Aw, you gotta wonder.
Yes, they left the house, but you know their digital footprint lives on. I am here preparing a Thanksgiving potlucky sort of thing for 20 people, and it's all good. And Joanna, I was very surprised to find out that my obsessive turkey looks very different from your obsessive turkey, even though I think we started with the same recipe.
All right, we're going to hear 2 more people, and then we're talking obsessive turkey. Michael and then Shauna, come on in.
Hi, y'all. Michael Tino here from Westchester County, New York, the land of Sandra Lee and Martha Stewart. I am going to pander to the princess-identified under 10 child crowd and say I make Let It Go turkey. Nothing obsessive about my turkey at all. So yes, Dolly Parton is back there, Superwoman.
I see her. Oh, I love Dolly Parton. Shauna, come on in.
And I'm Shauna Foster in Colorado with my little pilgrim. Look at her, she's so cute. My daughter Rose, and we're having Thanksgiving here. And I want to remind people of a couple of tech things. Pilgrim's left. She's off on the Mayflower. They're going, if you follow us on Twitter at CLFUU and you put questions there, we'll answer it live during the show. But we also have a question and answers app that you can use during the show to answer as well. And you've got to tell me what an obsessive turkey is, because the image that's coming to my mind, I think we even talked about this last year. Is it the upside down thing? What's that? That's what I was doing.
Joanna, you're the queen of obsessive turkey. You start, and then others can argue with you or whatever.
Okay, so obsessive turkey is actually, there are certain elements of Martha Stewart in it, but it is, I am claiming this. This is
personally, like her personally.
My weird Frankenstein thing here. So it starts on Sunday, where you do this salt brine over your.
That's where you lose me. Sunday,
yes.
Sunday.
It starts on Sunday, and you have this dry brine. I used to do a wet brine, but I've come to believe the dry brine is better. And yes, I realize technically brine means wet, whatever. Anyway, you have this salt and spice mixture you put all over your turkey. You put it in these big turkey bags, and for the next 3 days, you're going in and giving Mr. Turkey a massage, and I know all the vegetarians are just completely dying right now. And then by the time you get to Wednesday night, you're opening it up in the refrigerator so the skin can kind of dry out. And then you do all these other wonderful things with it. Number one, using a good thermometer, a good probe thermometer, which if you do nothing else, do that. Most people overcook their turkeys. Slathering it with butter, covering it with cheesecloth, and then the big thing is you make sure you have tons and tons of garlic that you put in the bottom of the pan. It's just wonderful.
Now, Aisha, is this how you do it? Is that your obsession?
Actually, yes, it is. So I got turned on to dry brine last year because wet brine really is a huge production. So yes, Joanna, I totally agree with that. And the cheesecloth thing I do. And last year, for the first time, I did high heat. I kept it at, I want to say 400. So it took about an hour less, but it was perfect. So it was. But I do the same thing you did. That was perfect. Very fun. This is my dog from Colombia.
Oh.
He is from South America. Say hi, True. And he has a brother. We took the litter brothers. His brother's walking around. So I wanted them to say hi.
Buenos dias. Wow.
I'm really curious. Are these people in the background? Is Brett Favre about to beat
I wanted to mention Superman because I'm at my brother's, as I said, and they like Superman here. And Superman moves around the house. So you might come out of your bedroom in the morning and, there's Superman. Or you're in the shower, you come out, there's Superman. So it will now be my challenge after this to go hide Superman somewhere to scare someone. So this is part of what we do here.
I want to see the baby. There's a baby. That's what I'm going to do, man.
This is Nora. You want to say hi to everyone, Nora?
With a binky.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Nora.
My binky. That's what I want.
Nora.
Aww. And we had several children come through. Wait, Joanna, you had somebody. Is that?
This is Marina Elizabeth. Say hello. My youngest.
Hey, Marina. I hear you got a new puppy.
And the puppy loves Reverend Sean.
Oh. Yeah, my puppy loves Reverend Sean, too. He's a lovable.
He's the puppy whisperer.
Puppy love. My puppy is lying here beside me quiet for a moment. Amazing. Sean, what do you got to add to all this? You're being awfully uncharacteristically quiet.
Oh, there we go.
Come on up.
You're muted. Sorry. I don't know. I'm just excited to be here and actually get to taste the obsessive turkey for the first time. And
well, speaking of obsessive, Amanda,
I know where you're going with this, man.
You know where I'm going. You guys get to hear. Sean puts the word fan like that. That doesn't even come near your feeling for Amanda Palmer. So you guys, so you've now seen her in many cities. How is she different in Texas? That's what I want to know.
She was tired in Texas. She was the second to last day of her tour, and she was in a bookstore, so it wasn't as much a performance as a reading.
Yeah.
So it was good, though. I mean, she did what'd she call it? Bible dip.
Yeah.
She called it Bible dip, and she just would hand her book to someone in the audience and have them open it to a page, and she would read it.
She did that with us. I saw her in Minneapolis because Sean would have defriended me in life.
Oh, I would not have. No, because I'm still Hank's friend, and Hank puts up all sorts of interesting things about Amanda. So from the other side, so.
The other side of Amanda.
Yeah, that she's the only person that I wouldn't mind going back to having her go back to be a mime.
Really? Oh.
I thought it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And Sean got to have go to his first tamalada.
I did. The tamalada.
What is that?
It's a tamale making party. So we made all day yesterday, Tuesday. What day is it? We made tamales, chocolate tamales, pork tamales, King Ranch tamales.
Yes, Katy was with us for King Ranch tamales. Yes,
and
it was
bacon, cheese grit.
Yes.
Jalapeno.
Yes. And for anyone who used to read real live preachers, some of our minister types might have, or Tertium Squid, or Turtles All the Way Down, we had Gordon Atkinson, who, you know, Sean's friends with everyone, and he came up from San Antonio, and it was just an amazing day.
Time. And we talked a lot about how amazing it is, the depths of friendships we've been able to develop online, because everyone in the room had met one another online.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was so much fun.
I love that. That's so cool. Because some of those relationships, like you guys, you go way back online, right?
Katy and I actually first met online.
Now that I didn't know that you and Katy met online.
We got online because we were looking for play groups. We have children the same age, and we both wound up in this this play group where we were the two progressives in this just insanely conservative play group, and we decided pretty quickly that we needed just create our own play group. So that's how Katy and I met, was online too. And yes, Sean and I blogged together, and that's how we first met.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the online community.
Okay, so what's the opinion on the turkey upside down so that the meats cook at the right temperatures?
I think that's too much work. I've tried it, and it's a big fat pain in the butt. First of all, you know why? Because, okay, so I started the turkey. You have to have a V-shaped rack. So I started with the breast down. So now what everybody neglects to tell you is it's super hot when you take it out 2 hours later to turn it over. You have to have special gloves. I mean, it's just.
Well, why do you turn it over? Just leave it upside down the whole time. I mean, it looks like meat, but you're eating it. So, you know. I mean,
you want the skin to be crisp, and the skin won't crisp up upside down.
I'm never doing it again. I like the cheesecloth method. I did it once because, you know, why not? But it was such a pain in the butt. It took us, as my mother-in-law would say. I'm never doing that again.
So here.
Okay,
here's
so my
what
husband is to
turkey and
inform
thank
me that any way I cook the turkey is the perfect way to cook the turkey. Isn't he?
He's a smart man. He's a smart and hungry man. Yes. And anyway, you buy a turkey from the barbecue place. Didn't you buy it already cooked this year?
Well, this is grandma level. It's got to be perfect because grandma's coming. So, you know, grandma's going to like the smoked turkey because I'm not a Thanksgiving chef like Nora's daddy is. So.
Okay. All right.
So what are y'all's sides? Because it seems like sides are often a very regional sort of thing. Like where I am, it's all about the cornbread dressing.
That sounds like Hank with a cornbread.
My mom wishes she was at your house right now because I'm not making cornbread. We're making the yams with the little marshmallows on the top. We're making the green bean casserole. This is my husband's, by the way. We didn't eat this. We just ate whatever was at Shake Shack or whatever, you know. So my husband is the green bean casserole with the little fried onion things, the yams with the little marshmallows on it. But one thing I had to insist on was the cranberry sauce from the can with the little rings in it. And you just, you know, that's it. That's the can. And then the mashed potatoes with sour cream in it.
The rings on the can make it taste better.
Yeah. Hey.
You have to see the visible rings. It also helps in the slicing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like this is the thick slice because it's where it is in the can. And, I make the apple pie crust and the pumpkin pie crust by hand. But this year I got the bag of sliced apples. They pre-slice it for you at the store.
I know,
All you got to do is peel it. No more of the coring and the crying that goes with the coring of the apples and things like that.
Cry when you core apples? I thought that was.
Oh my God! It takes forever. It's so sad.
Now I am a big fan. No one in my family is, but nonetheless I make it year after year of the horseradish, cranberry, Pepto-Bismol pink. I love that. I just love it. It's sour cream, horseradish, sugar, and fresh cranberries. Ground and onion, ground up. I love horseradish, and it is so good in that bland plate. You know, it's like sharp, and it's fabulous with turkey on a sandwich for leftovers. It is good. So, but you know, no one else eats it, so I have it with leftovers. And,
One year, my daughter asked for a second helping of the marshmallows with that orange stuff.
And Aisha, I saw a photo that you posted on Facebook with a sign. You were having to label your food last night.
If I don't label my food, I've learned the hard way. My husband, he forages in the middle of the night. He's a marathoner, so he will wake up sleepwalking and will just grab whatever's in the fridge. So now I've realized if I don't put signs on things, it will get eaten. It doesn't matter. It's the night before Thanksgiving. Clearly, mashed potato casserole is for the Thanksgiving dinner. It doesn't matter. If I don't have a sign, all bets are off. So I had to put a sign, and I think he didn't need it. I haven't checked yet. We'll see.
Last Sunday, my sermon was about the only time I ever had Thanksgiving away from home, and I had driven down to North Carolina. I was seeing this girl I'd met at a youth conference, and I drove down there, and she dumped me as soon as I got down there. And I remember, you know, still going to the Thanksgiving dinner, you know, and
Hank. I mean that would just of course have happened.
It's true. And went down there, and you know, and sort of regional differences, you know, pickled watermelon rind, that sort of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then they brought up this dish, which I had never seen before, and I was like, oh, is that dessert? And they went, no, this is you know, this what, you never had sweet potato pie before? And I said, no. What is it? And they then said it's mashed sweet potatoes with melted marshmallows on top. And the thought that came to my mind was, no wonder they lost the war.
See, that is very not fair, because true Southerners don't put marshmallows anywhere near their.
I was going to say, yeah, mine are covered with pecans and brown sugar and
bourbon, a little bourbon.
We do an Arkansas sweet potato casserole with a pecan brown sugar topping. Is absolutely to die for.
I think marshmallows are a universal American food. I mean, we never had them ourselves. I wish to have them, but I never got them. So, but that makes me think of we could do worst Thanksgiving ever. So in case anybody's feeling lonely, you'll feel better after hearing Hank's story. Hopefully you didn't have to drive a long way in order to get dumped. My first year in Minnesota, I was invited by a coworker I barely knew to her house up in Duluth. So, you know, I was like 20. So we took the bus. Neither of us had a car. We took the Greyhound bus up to Duluth. And her mother hadn't been told I was coming and was furious and didn't say go home. But like as I went into the room to put down my stuff, I heard her mother say, "How dare you bring her, and I don't want guests." And there I was in Duluth. You know, there was absolutely nothing to do but live through it and act as if I hadn't heard. And it's just helpful to remember, like, I've never had such a bad Thanksgiving again. And by the way, her mother didn't cook at all. Like, we didn't go out either. We had like mac and cheese from the box or something. Her mother was an alcoholic. Why she invited me there, I will never know. But anyway, I survived. I got on a bus the next day and went home, and we awkwardly never talked about it at work. So there you go. Whatever's happening to you, I bet it's better than that. Do we have a guest who'd like to speak with you there, Hank?
She wanted to show off her loose tooth. You want to show off your middle loose tooth? Yes, give it a wiggle. Give it a little shake with your finger. Maybe it'll come out live on the VUU.
Live TV. I don't know if I can handle the excitement.
No, I guess not.
Cool and bet on what time it'll come out.
They brought out all the adults over here. They're like, "Where is it? Where's the tooth?" So, Mom has a worst Thanksgiving story, but I think
Let's hear it.
Oh, Mom. Okay, go ahead. Tell your worst.
It starts with Shauna.
Well, no, I have one too, but hers is worse.
No, it's not that bad. Okay, it's bad for everybody around me, not me. First time I didn't have to cook. I had a boyfriend. He loved to cook, so I just drank.
And that was pretty much the worst Thanksgiving.
Well,
that sounds good. What's wrong with that one?
The grandkids were watching that. It had Jack Black in it as a Kung Fu Panda, and I was imitating Kung Fu Panda all Thanksgiving. The next day, my boyfriend was like, "You're never drinking that much."
So my worst one was when my son was 2 and I was at the in-laws' house, and he threw a biscuit at my father-in-law's face, and my father-in-law slapped my baby at the table, and I was like, and they're like waspy, right? So they're all like, it didn't happen. You know, they're just like the Plymouth, you know, people just like, that's not happening here, we're going to look away. And I was like, you slapped my baby, like threw up the table. I was so pissed. You know, it was just like a whole regional difference.
Oh, yeah, Mother Tiger, absolutely.
But they have never spoken about it. In fact, I told Tom I was going to tell this story, and he left the house so that he can keep kind of this waspy thing about it just didn't exist, it never happened, we don't speak about things that upset us, kind of whatever that is. I don't know. They homesteaded Nebraska, right? So they're like this very, you know, waspy family of just like, that Thanksgivings are very quiet. Please pass the potatoes and let me slap the baby if it pisses me off. Kind of people. I don't know.
Oh, geez, I think that's even worse than being in Duluth, hiding in a bedroom with eating. Yeah, that's terrible. So anybody have any horror stories of food on Thanksgiving? I'm just curious.
I dropped a turkey once on our. So we used to live in New Jersey in one apartment we rented, and we had a teeny island, and the dog's bed was right next to the island. And I was stuffing the turkey, and I wasn't registering that the turkey was moving. And at one point, the turkey just tumbled right onto the dog's bed, raw. So of course, it was full of hair. It was gross. So I just rinsed it, and I'm thinking it's gonna spend hours in the never. This is like the first time I've talked about it publicly on Google, and I don't know that any of my family members who ate it watched the show, so I'm not gonna mention it. But yeah, I just washed it all off, served it. This was probably about 10 years ago.
5-second rule, yeah.
I remember walking down the street in Cambridge once, and I was like, "What's that in the middle of the street?" It was like I was you know, I'd come back from Thanksgiving and. At my folks' house, I was going out to a show or something, and there in the middle of the sidewalk was a turkey that obviously had like someone had been a fight at the house and like had come out of an apartment window onto the sidewalk, and I was like, man, that's a great story.
Was part of it gone, or was the whole turkey there?
It was hard to tell. It was hard to tell.
Wow, we could all write a short story that ends that way, and it would be really interesting to see what we'd all say.
That's your writing prompt. At the end of the story, the turkey flies out the window, splatters on the sidewalk. Everything else.
Wow. That's quite something. I've just
Could have been an explosion, you know. I mean, like a gas explosion. You know.
I've just made dry, bad turkey and gummy mashed potatoes. I've never had anything that interesting happen. You know, just, you know, gravy that no one wanted to eat. No, but nothing disastrous. Just
I made a turkey one time using one of those convection oven microwave combinations, and I couldn't believe it was done as quickly as it was. And since I believe in a truth that's beyond the material world, I just kept cooking it.
Oh, no.
I just kept cooking the turkey because
All right, we all agree that
believe
turkey
that it was
is
done.
the worst turkey.
You know?
First turkey is the existential one, the one that is so far from reality. No.
This thing was like powder. It was like powder. You cut into it and it just powdered, right?
You know, back in the day, Tom, you'll remember when we were hippies and wouldn't use microwaves. So I never used one for like the first 10 years. But my father had one. So I went to visit, and I had this little roll, and I put it in the microwave and I set it for like 4 minutes because I put it in the oven. And he said, "No, you don't do that in a microwave." And this will explain a lot about my father and me together. I said, "I do." And he said, "I cook them for 4 minutes. That's how I do it." And he said, "I'm sure you don't." And I said, "Oh, yes, I do." And I put it in there, and it was just this, you know, and I ate it.
Cement.
I said, "Oh, yeah.
Of course you ate it.
I like it." Yeah, I did this on purpose. It was like a rock. I'm sure he just laughed about that for months. Like, "Oh, you showed me."
So one time I tried to make my sour cream and chive potato thing, and I decided that I would blend the potatoes in the pan that I was going to cook it in, which had the Teflon coating in it. And so I did it, and then these streaks of black came in there, and then I was like, "Oh, that must be the coating." And then we looked it up, and Teflon's carcinogenic. So that was like the 12 pounds of warm goo that we had to just like, it was actually kind of cathartic, you know, just like release into the wild this nasty.
Throw it out.
Oh, Tom wants to say something about those potatoes in particular?
No,
or?
I wanted to say something about Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
I want to have a shout out.
Here, Lena.
That's sweet. And clean up. Anyway, that's all. Thank you.
He's a very good helper for you this Thanksgiving.
He's cleaning up.
Yes, sir.
That's important, too.
He is welcome at my house anytime.
So now that we have 2 minutes left, anybody a great reading that you always do at Thanksgiving, or something that you do besides, do you go around the table and say what you're grateful for? Is that what you do at your house? Or?
So we have a kind of cool tradition that Sean does not even know that he will be participating in. We have this white tablecloth, and that we only use at Thanksgiving. And after the meal, you write a little something on it, sign your name, and put the date. And so it's become like this living kind of scrapbook of all of our Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's so sweet. So you all do it, not just guests, but the family writes it.
Everyone does it. And so that way you can see, oh, yeah, this was that Thanksgiving where this person was here and this person was here. Yeah.
Well, that's very sweet.
When you said white tablecloth, I thought you were going to be like, and the first person who spills on it has to buy the turkey next year and clean the tablecloth.
No, the competition would be too steep for that.
Joanna, do you get a new tablecloth every year, and so you have one for each year?
No. It's one tablecloth, and so when we spread this out, we'll be looking at like the last.
Oh, that's great.
How many years have you done that now?
Probably about 10, I think. So there will be one person who's not at our table this year, and so it'll be a little tender seeing that.
Yeah. Well, that's sweet. Anyone else? Anyone got something that you read every year, or no? See, we just eat, us ministers. It's kind of a nice holiday because you don't have to be at church for it, I think. It's a home.
Well, unless you're on the VUU, you have to work.
Unless you're on the VUU. We work hard. We work hard here. What can I say?
I don't know. My church is doing a, which I will not be there for, is doing a potluck, and it was looking so good. I'm thinking next year I may have to change my traditions.
Oh, but you'd have to take the tablecloth with you.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Well, we've come to the end of the hour. Thanks to those of you who gave up an hour of your Thanksgiving to listen. Wonderful blessing to be among you. We tried to talk about turkey and mashed potatoes. Of course, we got political. That's who we are, and I feel very blessed for that. There's Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. She can't see us. There she is. Hi. So to all
you can talk now.
in our backgrounds cooking while we hang out, thank you to all of you. May it be a blessed day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.